Hello everyone. We had taken one interview and this is our second interview. Here we have three new faces. The first one is Tanay and then we have Atif and Kailash. So we are going to discuss some of the important points about this new course at TILS, which is ODCL. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with introduction from each one of you. So Tanay, can you please introduce yourself? And then
Yeah, thank you, Pratik. Yeah, so I'm Tanay and I hail from Nagpur. I'm a civil engineering graduate with 2 years of experience. I worked at Texture, which is a virtual construction company, and I worked as building information modeling engineer. Along with this, I have been part of several organizations, some big organizations like ISEC, which is the largest student body in the world. Currently, I am a volunteer at an NGO which is working out of Nagpur. While working with various organizations, I realized that organization development is a key factor which drives the organizations and it determines the effectiveness. So this led me to take my career in MBA and I searched for various options and I found that MA in TES ODCL was the perfect match for me.
so now Atif, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Pratik, for the opportunity. So I'm Atif Ahmed. I belong from Ranchi, Jharkhand. So for my work experience, I've got like 3 years of work experience. I was there with Accenture. I worked as an analyst for a client based out in Australia. I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. Like I passed out in 2018. During my work itself, I realized that I needed to take a step further in my career, and that is why I opted for a management role. And I heard about TISS. I gave the exam, and luckily I made it.
Okay, so Atif, what was the total duration of your engagement with Accenture?
I worked with Accenture for 3 years, like from April of 2018 till June 21.
Then Kailash, can you give a brief?
Yes, thank you, Pratik sir, for the opportunity. My name is Kailash Talatule, and I'm from Nagpur, basically an electronics and communication engineering graduate from Nagpur itself. And I have a prior work experience of 3 years in Accenture from Accenture Pune. My basic reason for pursuing MA in ODCL from TES was basically to switch my career path from a technology background to more of a management background. And during my tenure also, I experienced a change process, which made me more curious about the learning of people side of change management and organization development basically. So I started reading about it and also pursued a course specifically from IIT Kharagpur, and then I decided to pursue a full-time course of MA ODCL from TES.
Then I would like to hear from you, what is this ODCL course?
ODCL is comparatively newer course. This is the first full-time course in India. So basically ODCL stands for Organization Development, Change Management and Leadership. So there are three aspects of this course, the prime aspects which the course teaches us. So these are organization development, which focuses on how an organization increases its effectiveness. And unlike other courses which are working on a particular section, organization development focuses on entire company as a whole, entire organization and as a whole, and it has a holistic approach in problem solving. Coming to change management, like whenever there is a change, basically there are two teams operating. One is project management team, which looks after the technical aspects of the change, and other is change managers who look after the people processes which brings the change. And third is leadership, which is considered as an integral part for any organization development or change management. So this is something which is new to the market and which is in high demand, especially after the pandemic. So there is a huge realization of how important organization development is, how important change management is, and how a good leader can bring about, implement, design, and craft these strategies and bring about the change. So this is a brief introduction about the course.
Okay, and from where did you came to know about this course?
As I told that I have been part of various organizations. So while I was a part of ISEC, one of my seniors was doing the course in ODCL, and like she was my go-to person. So whenever I had doubt about career and all, so I used to take her assistance. So she told me that this is one of the options, and like then I dig deeper into it and I realized that yeah, this is something which is really good and worth pursuing, something unique, something which provides and caters to the needs which are there in the market. So this I heard about it in 2018 for the first time after my graduation.
So Atif, can you explain me the selection procedure which this follows? And there are some books which it says that you should read.
So it's basically like the first step of the selection procedure is the same for all of the courses that TISS offers. So that exam is called TISNET. It comprises of 3 sections, basically general knowledge, quantitative aptitude, and there is a part for English as well. So the division is like 40 marks is assigned for GK, 30 each for both quantitative and English. And there is no negative marking in TISNET. And however, there is a specific cutoff for general knowledge, which for this year was like 14. So even if you score very well in English and quantitative aptitude and you are not able to qualify for that particular cutoff of general knowledge, you will not be taken to the further processes. So this was the first step. That's the TISNET. Post TISNET, the original.
So what was the cutoff this year for ODCL?
So for the cutoff for this year for ODCL was 68 for unreserved category.
Okay, so it hovers around 68 to 72, something like. So
Yeah.
you will have to score a good mark in TISNET.
Yeah, you will have to be among the best performers so as to make it to this course.
Okay. Okay, then what is the next process? Kailash, can you tell what is the next after qualifying for TISNET? What really happens in between?
Sure. After the TISNET, basically, which is the screening exam of the competitive exam, which consisted of 3 sections, there used to be usually a TISMAT exam, which was for the HRM and ODCL course. But due to the ongoing pandemic, this could not happen this year. So they conducted a process of extempore and personal interview, combining both of them equivalent to 50% of weightage. So in extempore, it was the process was basically a candidate was given 2 to 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 minutes for an topic to reflect on and to express his or her opinion in front of panelists. And soon after the extempore gets completed, you have to bug up with the personal interview thing, and combining both of it, extempore was basically 20% of weightage and personal interview was basically 30% of weightage. So for personal interview, I would like to just suggest that you have to be firm about why have you decided to pursue for ODCL course. That's the first and foremost and the most important thing which they'll try to assess from the personal interview. So this is the this one.
So one more point which I want to add here, that is the score of TISNET is quite important. It is not just a screening round, rather whatever you are scoring in TISNET is getting added to the final score.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a weightage.
Absolutely.
Weightage of that this year was quite high, 50%.
Yes, 50% of TISNET and other process was 50.
Yeah, the TISMAT process was basically, it was only for the School of Management related courses, and specifically HRM and ODCL people who had applied for these 2 courses had to appear for TISMAT originally. So TISMAT was basically done to test the students' business aptitude. So it had 3 parts, like there was one management DI kind of thing. There was the reading comprehension, like the second portion was reading comprehension, and third one was business awareness. So basically general knowledge based on the happenings in business.
And one more part was there, it was called essay writing, or that was also included.
Yeah, this time it was included because of the ongoing pandemic, they were also unsure about how to go ahead with it.
Yeah.
So
but eventually what happened, it got cancelled and you had something called extempore. Okay. Okay, so so how is the online classes going on? I mean, there is one question.
So it has been the same for everybody, like each and every MBA student of any university or college, if you'd ask, it's it gets hectic, but I can speak of TISS, like the teachers are also cognizant of the fact that it gets very difficult sometimes to concentrate, but it basically depends on your interest. Like the subjects taught here at especially TISS ODCL program are unique in itself. You might not have studied it earlier, so it kind of inculcates interest in among the people as well. And teachers do also given breaks. You have to do assignments, etc. Those are a bit tricky, but it is an exciting process. And we are hoping that we go back to offline classes soon. Like there are some procedures I cannot give the exact date on them, but we are hoping that we soon go back to the offline mode.
Yeah, so the few unique things about this which I experienced, like I have been part of IIM Raipur as well before joining ODC. So like the class size here is pretty small as compared to other B schools. So we get individual attention. So this is one very unique thing which I experienced at this ODC. Unlike other college, other B schools, we get individual attention, and there are various interactive activities. Like we have various breakout sessions wherein we have group activities. So like even if we are doing online classes, there's nothing which we feel that there's left out. Obviously that physical touch is missing, but otherwise we experience all the things which one could experience at a classroom. So this has really been a value addition for us.
I think that you all have, taken my OPI guidance, and, Atif and Kailash, you also took one-to-one temporary guidance. So can you share your experience with us?
Sure, I'll go first. So I got to know about Pratik sir and Ignited IS through one of my friends who's also studying in ODCL current batch. I had watched this video earlier, but I didn't know that this person is also like is expert in providing the extempore and the personal interview practice. So through my friend, I got to know, and when I enrolled for his course, the most fascinating thing which I got from his way of teaching was being short and concise. Extempore is not about being verbose and just blabbering about your opinions and thoughts. It's about being concise within that stipulated time, and you can express your opinion through that. So Pratik sir have been quite humble enough to tell me about how to highlight the words through voice modulating the sentence according to it, so that it could get highlighted in front of panelists. And also there was funny anecdote. We usually could not used to connect through the laptop. I used to always face the problem of video meet through laptop. So I have given all my extempore and even the personal interview, I suppose, from my phone only. So that was one of the funny anecdote I remember.
From the WhatsApp call, it was. From the WhatsApp call.
From the WhatsApp call, yeah, it was quite.
And yeah, and the main difficulty in ODCL extempore was that in other courses, what was the topics which were given, they are related to those courses. Yes. But in case of ODCL, most of the topic was not directly related to ODCL. Rather, they were of socio-political nature. And yes, there was something, we were not able to decide where to focus and what to study. And eventually what happened, Kailash and Atif also, I collected a group of, topics, and I started dictating, sentences over them. And that really helped a lot of students who have told me later that many of the topics came directly. So yeah, that was
quite a few topics were repetitive of from which you have given and which we had faced during the process. That was quite valuable.
So
like right through the interview, the YouTube videos as well, sir. Like initially I wasn't enrolled in your program, but I used to watch your videos. They were kept short, but I enjoyed that. Like I used to take away something from that. Like if I have watched 5 videos, so I know all of the GK facts that you told. So I was aware of the way you taught. And when I got to know, when I qualified for the testnet exam, and when I got to know that OPI was being conducted and you were conducting it, I enrolled with your course, and like I was really happy. Like you always used to, you never said that I'm busy today. Like if I had asked you any doubts, you would reply. Like in the morning, I was busy with some of my work related things. You used to call me and say that, hi, I have this, I'm scheduling this meeting, are you free? And I used to say that, huh. So for that, yes. And you also conducted a panel interview as well.
But I knew Atif from earlier also. He used to give the interviews and the extempore early in the morning. So I could relate it that, yeah, he is a busy person, Pratik sir. But somehow I got connected to him at night also, asking for feedbacks and specific topics. And he has been quite sweet enough to help all the time. So
And here only I would like to add that before going for interview, you will have to fill something called DAF. And the filling of DAF is very important because most of the questions you are going to face are going to come from DAF only. Okay, so DAF filling is one thing which is important. It should not be filled, casually. Rather, each and every word, each and every sentence should be thought upon and then filled. And after that, can you share what basically they are focusing upon, what they are looking for in a student?
So as you told, DAF is the first impression which we put upon the interviewers. So it's very important to feel each and every point which is mentioned in DAF, so that the first impression which we give is important, and they can like imagine what kind of personality is going to come to give the interview. So I think that DAF plays a very important part, and it should be done very carefully. And there shouldn't be any dishonesty while filling the DAF. Each and every point which you write on the DAF, you should be able to prove it and back every point. So coming to the interview process, like with the mock interview which you took and the interview which I faced, like many questions were overlapping, which was very helpful. Like prior to the original interview, the mock interview which I gave, I came to know about all my shortcomings, the points where I could improve, the template which could have been used in a better fashion. So these things improved a lot, like within the time span between my mock and my original interview. So this was really helpful. Now coming to what interviewers are expecting. Interviewers which take the interview, they are expecting us to have somewhat relation of what organization development is, and if there has been any change management or intervention. So you should be able to like draw similarities between the course which is there and your past experience. So you should be able to relate your previous experience with the course structure. So it's very important for you to go through the course structure once. You should read one of the 5 books which have been shared on the website. It's very important to read those 5 books, because majority of the students who have been shortlisted, one thing common across all those students was each one of us had read that book. So we were able to relate the work experience with the curriculum and the structure of the program. So these are a few very important points which the interviewers are looking for. Yeah.
And regarding the flow also, the interview at TISS, the panelists were quite approachable. Like being this was held for us, it was held online. Like they were also cognizant of the fact of the difficulties that one might face, the internet issues, the connectivity issues. So they were open to it. Like they were approachable. If you were facing issues, you could completely say to them. They were kind of approachable, and they would have rescheduled as well if you were facing any problems. Like for me, what happened, like there was a power cut during the interview. Like that is a big no-no for other business schools. Like they said that it's natural, it happens, and they continued with the interview as if nothing had happened. So that was another thing. Like the panelists are basically faculties itself, and we are being taught by them right now. And that shows that the name itself is a social science institute. So the teachers do show that as well, like because the human aspect is there.
Okay, so I would like to add one point that as Tanay said, those books are important, but going through one of them will also be very good. If you can go through at least one of them, one of the 4 books which are there, which are mentioned at the website or the description of the course.
Yeah, so one of them is fine, sir.
One of them is equally fine. So you can go through that. And then Kailash, any insight you have to share regarding interview process?
So basically for the books part, which they have provided for the preparation thing of personal interview, I would like to suggest one can go through at least the basic principles of OD, change management and leadership through the book, because sometimes it's not possible for anyone to read the whole book. So what the interviewers are expecting is your honesty of being of pursuing this course, and how you're putting it up in DAF and reflecting also in front of them. So when you're filling up DAF, I would like to give a suggestion that be full honest, fill it with full honesty, and because it's not up to the interview which will help your DAF answers. Like the DAF answers which not benefit till the interview part, but also after pursuing the course, these questions will pop up. Why are you pursuing why ODCL after specific stream or engineering or whatever? So you have to be honest. You have to relate it with your work ex and life experiences, and just put up it in the DAP and in front of interviewers. So that will make you and a greater chance of being selected in MAODC.
Okay, so now I would like to ask few questions and you can answer one by one. The first question is that many of my students have asked that is it necessary to be from an MNC to get admitted into ODCL or something?
No, no, sir. Absolutely, it is not necessary. Like you can be the only criteria for joining the MA ODCL program at DISS is that you need to have 2 years of work experience, and that work experience can be in any sector, like all of the sectors that are there, like be it banking, be it you might be from an arts background, a commerce background, or a science background. You might be an engineer. You might even be from a social science background. You just need to have 2 years of valid work experience, and that is the only criteria that they have. And of course, as my colleagues pointed out, that you need to be true that why do you want to join that course. If you are able to impress the panelists, you will get into it.
Okay, the second question is, sir, I have work experience, but for some period of time I was working without pay. So will it count as work ex?
So for this query, I would like to suggest that the minimum tenure of work experience would for required for MAO in ODCL would be 2 years. So you have to just need you just need a work experience certificate which have a start date and end date for a particular organization. That would suffice for the admission and process for MA in ODCL.
Okay, so there is one student who says that, sir, I have scored quite low marks in my BTech, which is, below 60%. So will it affect my, selection at OD or any further thing?
Yeah, I don't, definitely it will not affect, because this is very considerate in these aspects. Unlike other B schools which evaluate on profile basis, this has very open nature in evaluation. It doesn't consider your past academic scores or your past academic performances. You just have to do well in TestNet, perform properly in your extempo and PI, and you are through. So it doesn't matter how you performed or which kind of company you were in. So you only need to fulfill their criteria, and that's it.
Okay, so another question is how to build a profile for ODCL with certification or internship to do. This is a question from a student who do not have a 2-year experience but is hoping that in future, if possible, he will apply. So is there something he can do which will increase the chances or something?
Like, to be honest, like there is no such thing as a proper profile for an OD program. You need to have that right mentality as to why you want to join that course. You can be, as I said, like this accepts people from a diverse background. So it is not looking for a special profile as such. You need to have a particular background in a particular subject or a work ex, then we'll consider it. That is not the criteria.
Yeah, but if you want to have a competitive edge over other aspirants, it's better if you do the job which you're doing with a lens of people skills. That would definitely have an edge. And if there is any change and the organization is going through any change, then that person, that aspirant, if he observes closely to that change, and if he is able to describe it well in his interview, then he'll definitely have that edge. So having that lens, people lens, is very important.
Okay. Okay, so that was a great insight, I think. So that was a great session as well. So thanks all. Thank you. Thanks for taking your time and coming and sharing your insight and experience with us so that it will help the future aspirants. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Tanay. Thank you, Atif and
Thank you, sir.
Kailash.
Yes, sir.